Good morning, Havering Means Business members. It's Chris here. I hope you're doing really well. I hope your Friday has started really good. Russ is going to start letting people in, Russ, right? And I'm really looking forward to a really good meeting this morning. So who have we got jumping in? Let's have a look. Who's going to connect to audio first? It's Julie. Hi, Julie. How are you?
Morning.
Good morning. How are we doing?
Yeah, all good, thank you. You okay?
I'm doing all right. But normally I start these meetings with a non-business related question, and I've got a good one this morning, Julie.
Go on.
Right. So got up this morning, had my porridge, and in my porridge I have nuts, banana, honey, and coconut. 2 questions, right? Is that a bit over the top in terms of fillings?
I've never put my nuts in my porridge.
I mean, it did burn a bit. Let's not even go there. There's not even, that is too early in the morning for that sort of carry on humour.
I've just set the tone.
Julie, I missed that. You froze just inopportune.
It's Friday.
It's Friday.
Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. Anything's allowed on a Friday, isn't it? Really. Let's be frank about it. So my unbusiness related question of the podcast, question of the day is, what's your favourite breakfast? Clearly not nuts and porridge.
No.
Do you want to give it some thought? We'll come back to you.
I don't do breakfast.
Do you not?
No.
Oh, right. Oh, look, I've just seen Phil's face. I haven't even spoken to Phil yet. Have you?
Sorry, so Phil, is that wrong?
When's the first time you eat in the day?
Probably about 10:30.
And what is it? Is it like a brunch style, or?
I will have porridge.
Porridge.
Yeah,
okay.
that's
Just a great breakfast.
Yeah. But that keeps me going till tea time.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. Is it? Well. Okay. 2 meals a day. We'll get some feedback from Phil about whether that's right or not. But I've done that in the past. Like, sort of, I won't eat till about 11 o'clock. I'll have a spinach and eggs and whatever, and then I'll eat in the evening. So
if I ate when I got up,
because you're up early, aren't you?
Yeah, I got my dinner at 2 p.m. So it just has to work. So
yeah, 2 p.m. dinner. That's what, just have a dinner at 2. Pound that. Back up for a bit more food. It sounds good. Christine, how are you?
Good morning. I'm fine. Yes, I'm also not a breakfast person.
Okay, fair enough. When's the first time you eat during the day?
Lunchtime, really.
Okay,
fair enough. And it will be lunch. I kind of tend to skip breakfast. But
now, Carol, now do you know what this is? I didn't realise it was going to be so contentious on a Friday morning already. Carol, you're definitely a breakfast person, aren't you?
I don't know what I'm gonna look like, but it's literally the only reason that I get out of bed. I just can't wait to eat in the morning. I'm always starving.
Right. So is it really good question. Is it a breakfast pre-run? Or is it a breakfast post-run?
Post-run. I'm really sorry, Phil. I just can't stomach anything before if I'm running. I used to try and have like half a banana or something, but no, it doesn't. It makes no sense because we should fuel ourselves. But yes.
And what do you have in your porridge? Because the reason that I'm asking is because Cassie reckons that I've gone really over the top with my sort of fillings. What do you have in your porridge?
If I eat oats, it's overnight oats, and it's I'll make it up with like cocoa and stuff the night before, so I don't really add anything. But yeah, I have to sit and see the kids with their golden syrup and slopping it all in and everything. But yes, I try to keep it not over sweet.
You know what, we got in that bit of overnight oats, but you just need to remember, like, to prep it, don't you? And that's the bit I always forget. Simon, how are you?
I was just a bit concerned when I first joined whether I was actually at the right meeting about you and you. But that's another story. Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I'm good.
Was that because of the way that was going with Judy talking about the nuts?
Well, yeah, I'm don't know what to say, to be honest with you. I don't often blush.
You know what, right? I am a bit of a fan of innuendo humour. Like I was brought up with the like Carry On films, and like that still makes me chuckle a bit of like naughty postcard humour. My kids just don't get innuendo. They just don't think it's funny. But it's a weird thing how culturally it changes over time. Are you an innuendo fan?
Yeah, I like. Again, I don't know what I should be admitting to be quite honest with you. I like the 70s sitcoms, as it were. You know, the ones that can be rerun, as opposed to the ones that
definitely shouldn't.
Yeah, indeed.
Fair enough. All right, fair enough. And breakfast wise, what are you a fan of?
I was going to say, if I do have breakfast, which is normally sort of like, say, for the weekends, it's probably poached egg or something like that on toast, or
nice.
Dippy egg and soldiers. How's that?
Dippy egg and soldiers. You are going old school. That's the most 70s I think you could have picked. Julie Bell, clearly one of my two favourite Julies. How are you this morning?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you guys?
Good. Yeah, very well. Talk to me a bit about breakfast then. What do you have?
Well, I'm a little bit like Carol. As soon as I get out of bed, I'm thinking, what am I going to eat? What am I going to eat? And I'm looking, but I go to the same thing. I do have porridge, but I load it. Absolutely. I've got a banana in it, berries in it, sunflower seeds, everything. Because if I eat just porridge, by about 10, I'm peckish again.
Yeah.
Because I find if I can load it with stuff like that, I think, oh, I'm doing a bit of good.
So this morning, I'm the same as you. So this morning I had, we ran out of bananas. I bought more bananas yesterday. Me and my family just like sort of eat bananas like they're going out of fashion. So they're gone. So I had nuts, coconut, honey, sultanas. And it was like, it was more filling than porridge, to be frank, by the end. But it was nice. It was good. Cool. Thanks, Julie, and we'll talk business in a little while. Now, Phil, are you just? We need to get your opinion on this, mate, because this might be the worst thing in the world we're doing here, and we need to get some nutritional advice on a Friday morning. Number one, what do you have for breakfast? And number two, what are you thinking about some of the choices?
To be fair, I think everyone's breakfast sounds fine. Like porridge is always a great staple. Slow burning carbohydrates keep your energy up constant throughout the day. It's good, but at the end of the day, I think people just need to do what works for them, don't they? Your bodies and your systems get into kind of a routine. If you don't have breakfast till a bit later on, whatever works for you. I'd say that if you're active in the mornings, and sometimes it's not always the best thing to skip breakfast, but if you're not feeling, ill effects from not having breakfast, then lots of people do intermittent fasting, things like that. There's some evidence that shows it kind of keeps your hormone levels a bit more balanced, things like that. But I think
that's like 4 days off, 3 days off. Is that the way?
Intermittent fasting, as in people don't eat in the mornings until kind of in the afternoon. But I think with most things, most studies are done with a goal or an end goal in mind. So most people can. They're trying
to prove a point, aren't they? That's a challenge with them.
Yeah, with most things you can do any kind of study to kind of prove your point if that's what your goal is. So but as I said, whatever works for you, isn't it?
And what do you have for breakfast?
I normally have three go-to breakfasts. So I have eggs in the morning, like scrambled eggs with some like seeded toast or something like that. Porridge is a good one, but I tend to load my porridge up with fruit, because otherwise I start putting.
Can I guess the third one just to make it fun? Is it a bag of hula hoops? Is that your third go?
No, it's not a bag of hula hoops.
No, what's it? Sorry, what's it?
What's it? That's one. Doritos or Pringles.
Well, God, what's the third one, mate?
Quite often, rather than having cereal, I'll have like a Greek yogurt, and then I'll add fruit with Greek yogurt and a little bit of
nice,
like granola or muesli or something in with that.
Cool. All right, we'll talk business in a little while, mate. But thank you very much, Sharon. How are you? Number one, and number two, breakfast-wise, what's your bag?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you all?
Good, very good.
Breakfast for me is easy. I do porridge every morning. I'm a creature of habit. I do porridge with a little bit of cocoa and fruit. Generally berries and a bit of banana. And that's my every morning habit.
Bit of cocoa. I've not tried cocoa and porridge before. So how much you put in? Does it sort of, is it chocolatey in terms of, okay.
Chocolatey flavour, not too much because then it goes a bit bitter.
Yeah.
And you need something to sweeten it, but just a little bit. And it just gives it, I don't know, it just makes it a bit nice.
Like the idea of that. I might give that a go. That's I'll add that to my shopping list over the weekend. Leslie, how are you? You doing well?
Yeah, I'm good. First time here. Hi, everybody.
Yeah, they're a friendly bunch, Leslie. They are, most of them. I mean, Russ is on.
He lies, we eat visitors.
He's a bit antisocial, Sharon, isn't he? But we'll look. Russ has had too much stick this week because Christine and Tracy came on the call and he did say to me, "Why do people keep on having a go at my printers?" And literally that's an in joke. Nobody's going to get that, and we'll talk about it later maybe. But we'll talk about that. Talk to me about breakfast, Leslie.
I'm another porridge fan, but porridge. I make designer porridge. I go to the health food shop, jumbo oats, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, desiccated coconut, chopped nuts, and I have a big vat of those, and I just take a 50-gram scoop out, water and a handful of blueberries, and then I mix it with Greek yogurt. That's my breakfast. That
sounds amazing. And what's the difference between the oats that you buy in the health food shop and the oats you buy normally?
I buy oats that haven't been pulverized into a dust.
Gotcha. Does it change the consistency? Okay.
It's got more chewiness to it.
Okay, cool. But I'm liking your like sort of choices of putting in, because that's what we go for in the Danes house as well.
I'm a systems freak, so I have this thing and I've got it. I mix it all up and put it in a jar. So I just put a scoop in the pan, and then the water and the blueberries. It takes 3-4 minutes to cook. Doesn't take long.
You know what? I'm embarrassed now because I'm the least organised person breakfast wise. I just like sort of, I'll just open the cupboard and see what's in there, and hopefully there's some porridge. Until I
get to the weekend, then I go for bacon sandwiches with melted cheese.
It's the weekend. Well, I mean, Phil won't admit it, but that Saturday morning bag of hula hoops he loves. He absolutely loves. Tracy, how are you?
I'm still a bit tired, actually.
Fair enough. You're not alone. I think we've all got our coffee. So breakfast-wise.
Breakfast-wise, it varies. I'm impressed with all the healthy choices. Absolutely amazed. I've recently, like a few of the others, started making my own porridge, which is obviously, the porridge is there as normal, but you add the bits to it, so you get your different flavours straight away. So that's really good.
So what bits do you add?
So I add almond nuts, chia seeds, which I've discovered recently, which are really healthy. Banana, dried banana, cinnamon, mixed berries, and raisins.
And where do you put the porridge? In a separate bowl, yeah?
No, I have it in a container, and then
I'm just saying, with all that stuff in, I didn't know where you actually put the porridge. Is that joking? Clearly.
You're trying to be funny, Chris. It's not working.
Tracy, it sounds lovely. It sounds amazing. Right. Okay. So we've done breakfast. We've done carry-on films. Let's talk a bit of business. Julie, talk to me about your business, and what's going on in your world at the minute. Julie Wedge, we're going to start with.
Good morning, everyone. Julie from Flower Shed. Business is good. Got a nice busy weekend. Doing lots of funeral work, continuing to do it as I say that I do it best, where people come first, having some excellent feedback on some different things. Done an Italian flag this week, which was interesting.
Okay.
So yeah, being asked to do lots of different things. And I suppose the best thing was one of my neighbours came over, and it's not the best thing, but they said, oh, we see that you keep taking flowers in and out of your house. Are you a florist? And I was like, yeah. So they said, could I help organise a funeral for them? So yeah.
Yeah, it's and I mean, we've spoke about this on the meetings before, but just having that, and it's a conversation I had earlier in the week about our business, because we're supporting a couple of our clients who have lost their parents, unfortunately, due to COVID. And having those sensitive conversations about such a tough subject is important, isn't it?
Yeah, very.
I know that you do a lot of work in making sure that the flowers are representative of the individual they're paying tribute to. How do you do that?
Oh, chatting,
Yeah.
finding out a bit about the person, finding out what they're into, hobbies, what kind of, when they've met, you know, how long they've been married and things like that. It's just great. I've often gone back to, if it's a female, I've gone back to what they had in their bridal bouquet so that I can incorporate that, and that really works.
It's just that, what, in terms of the flowers in their bridal bouquet. Oh, yeah. Interesting. Yeah. And do people ask you to do sort of visual sort of representations of stuff? And if so, what's the?
I hope not. I show them my work, but there's no way I could draw anything. That would be hilarious.
I'm talking more. I don't know. Let's say somebody was really into football, and could you build flowers in the shape of, you know, certain objects? Is that something that people want? Yeah,
it is. Some people don't like them, some, you know, but it's down to whoever you're going to represent. So yeah. And what's the straight? Sorry, I had to do a windmill. I think that's probably been the oddest thing that I've been asked for. Yes, Phil, that's how I draw flowers. Yeah.
Sophie's the artist in our family. Nobody else is. Actually, Charlotte's all right, but yeah, we're not great artists.
Yeah, no, my husband is he does watercolor painting, and he's fantastic. But I've just got no talent at all there.
You know what? I did try at the start of lockdown. Okay, so I think I spoke about this on a previous meeting. I did two, like, Sophie had a set of pencils and some highlighter pens, and I did I'll post it in the group. I did this scene of London, and as a joke said, like, went on Twitter and went, look, if you want this, like, highest bidder, we'll frame it, we'll send it to you, and you can give the money to St Francis. And somebody I know, pity purchase, paid £100 for that. So we raised 100 quid for St Francis Hospice. Julie, if you would have seen it, I mean, it was like, I'm surprised it was worth 100 pence. You know, that was how bad it was. But we raised a bit of cash for a good cause, so I was happy with that.
Yeah, and I made a decision not to advertise Valentine's as well.
Okay.
So I'm not.
Talk me through that decision.
I'm not doing red roses. They're just ridiculous. The price is extortionate, and I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to be able to compete with supermarkets, so I'm not going to. But if my wholesalers, to me, cost is coming out at nearly £3 a rose. That's bonkers. That's bonkers. Once I put my markup on, that's crazy. So I've decided, if someone wants a bouquet, it's a mixed seasonal one. Yeah. But I'm not doing red roses, not doing anything red for Valentine's.
I also think it's good to say no to business sometimes. You know, if somebody wants a red rose and your stuff is more bespoke, why not? You know, why not just say, look, we're not the place for you. And thank you, because that gives us our theme for our sort of little business related chat. Is it good to sometimes say no to business you don't want? And I actually think, particularly for SMEs, but sort of capacity is limited. And I know you're going to be talking on a future morning commute about running a micro business, but capacity is limited. And actually, you've got to pick your clients as much as your clients pick you. So there's that element of what you say no to effectively. We don't work with people we don't like. Simple as that, because life's too short.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
So yeah, all good. Thanks, Julie. Really appreciate that. And I'll make sure that when I'm due to buy cauliflowers again in 2022, whenever it is, I don't answer red roses.
Okay.
Carol, how are you? Tell me about what's going on business-wise.
All good, thank you. Hello, everyone. Really looking forward to your presentation, ladies. So all the best with that. Yeah, just the world of leaflet distribution, as you know. After last week's call, Sue that was on the call, we had a lovely chat on the phone because she's involved with one of the political parties.
She is. Yeah.
We're not going to mention because there's other political parties, isn't there, Chris?
Look, we don't. We try not to. We try to stay apolitical, don't we, Carol? We try and avoid politics. But Sue is a local. Is involved quite actively in local politics and business. So yeah.
And at the end of the day, we'll deliver for anyone, won't we? So yeah. So we had a lovely chat, and she's actually going to have find out what exactly is happening. I think what we could call the two major parties seem to have made a pact for the moment that they're not going to do any door-to-door literature, which is really frustrating. But
why is that? Why?
I don't know. She just mentioned it in passing, and then, as you can imagine, with the two of us, the conversation moved on. But yeah, just to say, if anybody is involved in any of the political parties, please get me contact details or give me an in somehow, because with May coming up, hopefully it's all going to go ahead, and it should be a really busy time for us. Yeah, the other thing is I've been talking to Simon's colleague, Glenn. He's sort of seen a few of things I've been doing on social media, and hopefully I'm going to be doing some blogs that he can put out there for the construction industry, care industry, and yeah, just get our name out there a little bit more really, and give us a bit of support. So thank you very much. I'm very excited about that. And I've got this.
What do you do, Carol?
Sorry?
What do you do?
Oh, sorry, we're a leaflet distribution company. So we're doing these ones at the moment. You don't need the actual leaflets, you can do it all online. But St. Francis Hospice have got a lottery. It's only £1 a week and you can win loads of money. And I'm just thinking it's better to give £1 to them than £2 to the one that you're definitely never going to win. So I just wanted to give them a little shout out.
Cool. And we're fans of St. Francis Hospice and East London Business Place, who I know a lot of us work quite closely with, and know Glenn and Simon. I mean, I'm jealous of Simon's DIY skills, I've got to say. I mean, what he could do with a car is just, when it breaks, I'm not taking it to my local garage. I'm giving Simon a buzz and seeing what he could do. But yeah, so thank you, Carol. And it's interesting because would you, in your particular business, say no to a client? And if so, why?
Yeah, our main reason for sort of saying no in a roundabout way is that whole thing of discounting. People just want it, and especially to me, we'll have the odd person that then gets referred on to Martin because maybe they need a man's touch to tell them no, because it's very much, we'll get the little lady to do it really cheap.
Right.
And that does still happen.
I can't see you having that though, Carol.
No, I'm quite happy to pass it on to someone else. There's some groups I think that would rather speak to a man, and that's honestly fine with me.
Really?
But yeah, so we'll get people almost getting to the point of aggressive where they just can't understand why you won't do it cheaper, and then I'll tend to turn it around to their service and say, well, you wouldn't do what you're offering for half price, so why would I? So that's the main reason it doesn't go through.
Yeah, it's funny. We're dealing with our professional indemnity insurance at the minute, and one of the members of this group is helping us manage it, Steve Chilton. And our existing insurer came back and effectively stripped every piece of commission out of the PI. And PI is really expensive in our business because of the nature of liability of advice. but they stripped all the commission out, and it was about £2,000 less. So because we'd been working with Steve, and they wanted to retain the work. That's the reason they'd done it. They wanted to retain the work over the longer term. And we went back to Steve and said, well, it was Cassie who was dealing with it, went back to Steve and said, look, we don't expect you to do that, but just to be aware this is what they've done, because what we wouldn't want to do is start that relationship where there was no value both sides. You know, it's so important that if I'm working with somebody, they respect our time and value, and we respect theirs. Just, you know, so we said, look, we don't want you to do that, but can you sort of do something to potentially help us compete? And he did, and it was, yeah, it worked really well. So I think it's so important to have mutual respect in terms of the value you add, and we're the same. We won't, you know, we're not a low-cost service, and we never will be. We'd rather say no to a client than discount. Simon, talk to me about what's going on in your world business-wise and life-wise.
Life-wise, I think I've got internet. Well, not very good internet. After 3 weeks of having to hotspot, our current provider has sort of sorted the problem out, but you've all frozen this morning, or I can't see any of your pictures, so it's not quite repaired. But we carry on. Had an enjoyable week, very varied week. I'm also dealing now, while a colleague is off sick at the moment, with clients in the care industry and the wellbeing industry, and that's a very, very different bag of tricks, as it were, in terms of keeping your finger on the pulse in relation to what's going on, their desire to all have the vaccination so that they can continue, how do they register, all of that sort of thing. Had some inquiries about money laundering as well, and VAT. So again, Sharon, I think I'm turning into an accountant. You know, if all else fails, that might be something I could do as a secondary thing while repairing cars.
Can I just applaud Sharon just very quickly? I'll do it later because I love Sharon, clearly she knows that. But Sharon and I are doing some work together. I hope you don't mind me mentioning to Sharon, on a mutual client, right? So we're doing the work. We had an amazing meeting with this. Sharon introduced the client to me. We had an amazing meeting with this client. The relationship is definitely there, and we're definitely going to be able to help. But the bit that I was the most impressed about, and this is going to sound really geeky, but for Sharon and I, it's super important. Sharon sent me all the money laundering stuff, and like saved our team a job. So thank you for being so organised on that. I really appreciate it. Sorry, Simon. I just wanted to use that to say thank you to Sharon. But yeah, so money laundering wise, what was the query?
It was a situation where I'm dealing with a client who's very well connected, and someone who's a very close friend of him, who deals in sort of like VIP training and all of that sort of stuff, had to shoot back home, and his father unfortunately has only a few days to live. The father's in a situation where there's some money that needs to be accessed, which is not in the country, and it was sort of asked the question of, you know, what can you do in relation to that? And I said, well, it's not just something in the UK, it's a worldwide thing. Money's tracked. So if it goes into an account, it comes out of an account. You know, if you try and help, you run the risk of getting an investigation and it's deemed as money laundering. So, you know, be careful about whatever you do. And as soon as you mention, you know, certain terms, people suddenly realise that rather than trying to help a person out, they've got to turn around and say no. So it could have been probably potentially a bit of a sticky thing for my client, but I think he realizes he can only support the person in terms of being a friend and, you know, going through that bereavement process. But I mean,
it's interesting, isn't it? Because I think you've got to be careful. You want to be as helpful as you can, but you know, get yourself in trouble for doing that is just not the way to go. Talk to me about saying no to clients, Simon. Have you do you ever say no? How would the relationship have to start for you to say, you know what, I don't think this is going to work?
I never say no to any clients who want to join East London Business Place. I haven't told those who don't know me what East London Business Place is. So if I can do that first, that would be great. So East London Business Place is a programme which offers businesses in Havering, and we are funded by Havering, but also to business across London, free business support. And we do that because we are match funded with the EU, and that will continue until March next year. As I mentioned, Havering, we've got a few other boroughs, and we've also got some private investment as well. I'm pleased to say many of the people that are on today are current clients and are lovely people to work with. You'll see all the little smiles suddenly appear. Well, I won't because my screen's frozen, but yeah, no, they've been great journeys and really great people to work with. And I think the most rewarding thing is when you actually see change within their business or change in their aura, and they do turn around and they say no to clients. And there is a few people here that have actually said no. My own personal belief is say no, but try. If you know, not all business is good business, but there are some clients who try it on. And if you do stand up to them and explain why, because often it is a balance between value and price.
Yeah,
if you show more value to overweigh the price, then there's a good chance rather than being the enemy, they become your good client and most profitable client, because you've also got to look at the profitability. If you're spending more and more time with them and doing more stuff for free, they're not of benefit to you. But if they're paying for what you say you're going to offer, and anything out of that is a separate contract, then that works well.
I think you make an interesting point, because it's not always, no isn't always no, is it? It's then an opportunity to get involved in a conversation and a bit more of a nuanced dialogue about where the value adds. And maybe, you know, when we get somebody who wants a discount, our job then is to go, have we communicated our value enough to make sure that we're in a position where they understand that what we do is pretty valuable? So, you know, you've got to do a bit of looking in the mirror as opposed to just saying no outright. I think it's an interesting one. Thanks, Simon, really appreciate that. And again, you know, we at Savello and now Havering Means Business really love working with Glenn and Simon and the guys at ELBP. So thanks for your insights over the years. And I think what we like is the fact that you're very collaborative. So thank you for doing that. Even though your camera at the minute looks like you are sitting in a dark room. Oh, I can see you there. You put your thumbs up. There we go.
There we go. Yeah, it's because I need to go and alter the blind. Oh, dear.
Yeah,
I need to go and alter the blinds. Sorry about that. I will offline. I will make myself look even more attractive. And
you need a halo lamp, Simon.
Sorry, I missed that.
You need a halo lamp. Look on Amazon.
Yeah, I was going to say, most people say I've got a halo, but that's another story.
Well, I've got one of them, and the problem is every time I put my glasses on, you can see it. Can you see the halo lamp there? So I can't put my glasses on. That's the problem. Julie, talk to me about what's going on in your world business-wise. Julie Bell.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. It's nice to see you all. What's been happening this week? I have been researching different accountants within our territory to try and introduce myself, to be able to have a rapport going and build a strategic alliance. What Action Coach do is they work with business owners to take their businesses from good to great. And accountants at the moment, I know they're really, really busy. It's the end of the tax year, isn't it? But what I'd like to do is present to them, or have Mark present to them, what we can offer to their clients, and then in turn around and suggest it to their clients. So it looks like they're giving value to their client, and then we're coming on board. And then by doing the introduction, we can hopefully, get some clients. But
great stuff. And
3 new people this week. So, but I love what Julie said. She's not going to do the red roses. You know, it is extortionate, and good for you for standing up and saying, no, I'm not doing it.
I mean, Julie, the two Julies could collaborate, because apparently Julie Bell has got some lovely foliage. I mean, we know that from a recent video. So maybe if Brexit means that you can't get the suppliers, Julie Wedge, going round and I'm not going to say this. I was going to say bush. I'm not going to use the word
You like
bush.
innuendos, don't you? You just said that.
So yeah, maybe there's a collaboration there somewhere. Right. So funny enough, I spoke to Mark not last week, the week before. All if I look at our professional introduction list, most of them are accountants. Now we're going to be doing some work together in terms of Mark and I, in terms of webinars coming up that we'll invite some of those accountants to. But mid-Feb, Julie, get Russ to arrange a one-to-one for you and I, and we'll talk about what connections we've got with accountants and whether we can help you with that.
Fantastic, thank you very much.
No,
but also getting back to the point of saying no to a client. I mean, I've only been with Action Coach a very short time, but I have known them say to people that have come in, because initially you have like a complimentary one-to-one, don't you? It's an hour, and you know, they've shook hands and gone out, and I've gone up and said, oh, how did that go? Because I'm obviously need to learn. And they just said, oh, no, it's not for either of us.
Yeah. And I mean, it's the same as our business. If the relationship isn't there, if the relationship of trust isn't there, it's not going to work either way. You know, there needs to be a really good relationship of trust to make sure that it's working. I think all professional services, service-related businesses that rely on the longer-term relationship are like that. So yeah, it's good to know, Julie.
But I think a lot of people who have got their own businesses, their first response is, "You don't know my business. You can't tell me about my business."
Yeah,
you're right. I'm not a lawyer or a accountant or whatever. It doesn't mean to say you know how to run your own business because you're so busy working in it.
Yeah, well, I always think if you're that closed-minded that you're not going to get an insight, that will create trouble.
Yeah, and this is where I think it's a yes or a no.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, is somebody willing to learn? Is the thing, isn't it? Yeah,
and that's what I think you've got to learn all your life, really.
Never stop learning. Never stop learning. Phil, talk to me about what's going on in your world business-wise. Tell us a little bit about the group and how that's going. I know that keeps popping up on my feed, and I'm really enjoying that. And talk to me a little bit about saying no.
Yeah. So for everyone that doesn't know me, I'm Phil, Fit Squad Bootcamp. So I run, well, I say outdoor boot camps and personal training. It's online at the moment. So online and outdoor kind of group boot camps, community boot camps, fitness boot camps, and do one-to-one personal training as well. So yeah, at the moment everything's going really well. Like funnily enough, considering everything's going on. But yeah, I think it just seems. I think I was kind of mentioned it sort of last week. I think it seems that at the moment, I don't know whether it's just that people are kind of slowly coming out of sort of like that Christmas sort of January mindset, or maybe they've seen these days where the weather's starting to brighten. I think everyone's mood's starting to slowly turn around a little bit. So it's really good to see. The community on Facebook, the free Facebook community is really vibrant at the moment. It's really, really good. Lots of people getting involved. Obviously putting a lot of content out as well. We're trying to put a lot of video content because I think we all see a lot of content going out at the moment. So obviously I'm trying to make it, personal use, make it personal for everyone. Obviously also doing some free consultations with people. If I've put that out this week because I think at the minute what people sometimes need is a bit of information, a little bit of inspiration, a little bit of not a kick up the backside, but a bit of some
nudge,
some kind of impetus to say, actually, you know what, I'm gonna get involved with that, because that free 15-minute consultation could be the start of something bigger, something more long term. So,
and how do people book that, Phil, if they want to get involved in that?
So I'm on Facebook and Instagram and in the free Facebook community. So all they need to do is get in touch with me, send me a message, reach out, and then we'll put something in the diary that actually suits whoever it is. So I'll make myself available for whenever works for them.
Amazing, thank you, mate. And I agree with you. I think the weather getting a little bit better. I went for a run on Sunday that was awful, and then because it was like pouring down, and I went 5 times up Ingerbourne Hill, and you know what, I should have gone for a flatter run on that. But I did a. I'm about 10 minutes away from my best pace at the minute. So my best pace is like a 2-hour marathon, and I was like sort of 104 on the 10K.
I presume you mean 2-hour half marathon.
Half. Sorry,
half.
Say,
a 2-hour
definitely
marathon.
Not a 2-hour marathon.
I was going to say I'm getting contract out.
Sorry, 2-hour half marathon. My name isn't Mo. But yeah, 2-hour half. So I'm just trying to like get the distances up, get the pace a bit quicker, ready for the full marathon in October, which I definitely won't be doing in 2 hours. Talk to me about saying no.
I think actually, I think with all of us, with our varying businesses, I think we can all think of reasons why it's quite important to say no in certain circumstances. But I quite like, obviously, I quite like what Simon was saying, because obviously it's saying no isn't necessarily, it's not a hard no, is it?
No, it's not no.
Yeah, I think it's just an opportunity to give your feelings, give your reasons why in that current format it won't work, and actually say for something to work, for it to be productive, this is what we need to do. If you can't,
it needs to be a win-win, doesn't it?
Exactly.
If the relationship's sort of even-ended, it won't work.
Exactly. If you can't find the middle ground, if you can't find something that's actually going to be mutually beneficial, then you're better off finding just people that you can make that work for.
Yeah, it's cool. Thank you. Sharon, how are you? Oh.
Sharon can't get unmute to work. Morning, people in the boxes. I am really good, thank you. So there's so many great conversations this morning to come back on. So let's start with the price conversation. I do much the same. I'm picky with who I work with. I need to like my clients a bit like Phil, a bit like Chris even. I don't know who Phil is, but it's quite important. And the regular one I get, my pricing is not the cheapest on the block. I admit to that, and I'm not hiding from that, because the service I offer is at a different level, and that what my clients get for that service is a completely different thing. So I'm not going to at any point compete with the likes of Crunch at £99 a month for doing absolutely everything, where you never speak to the same person twice and you've no idea what's going on. And when somebody else takes over from Crunch, they know they're going to have to spend a lot of time clearing up a mess. So yeah, I'm a stroppy cow. What can I say? I don't do that.
But you know what? It's all that. I mean, it all goes back to that value. You know, the interesting thing in our world, one piece of advice could potentially save somebody tens of thousands of pounds. And it's that, you know, it is an expensive service that's not right for everybody. You know, if you want a direct to consumer proposition, there's plenty in the financial services market that will solve that problem. If you want bespoke, good quality, relationship-based advice, you've got to pay for it.
Absolutely. But you gain by that, because the value that we add, and as we discovered with this couple that we spoke to the other day, that they're an amazing couple. They're a really quirky couple. They're really, really interesting. But the point is, we worked collaboratively beforehand, and Chris knew exactly what he was going into with this couple, and he knew exactly how to approach it. And he was spot on, made a connection with them from the off. It was brilliant.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It was like, and I'm looking forward to that lunch, Sharon. That's what I'm looking forward to now. We'll work with them, but then we'll go for that lunch, and it'll be good fun. And thank you for working with me, because I know it's a relationship of trust we've built virtually, and I really appreciate that. So thanks a lot. We love working with you too.
And there's more to come, so it's going to be good.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
That leads on to choosing clients and partners. And it is important that the partners we work with, we have a trust in, because at the end of the day, our reputation is at stake if we recommend a partner that lets our client down, because the client's view is, well, you said these guys were good.
Yeah. So yeah. Your name is on the line. every time you make a recommendation to somebody. And it's one of the reasons, and Sharon's been to it a few times, for you know, in a lot of the businesses in this room, the event we run called Savello in a Circle isn't appropriate, but we run an event every month where we invite professionals, and part of that is to work out who's good enough to work with our clients. That's the reason we do it, because, you know, 11 years of working with clients, my reputation, which is worth more than any fee, is on the line, and I want to make sure that when we partner with people, they're people we trust. So yeah, the feeling's mutual, Sharon. We love you too.
Now we can stop admiring each other. We can go.
Yeah, exactly. Look, this is turning into the Sharon and Chris fan club. That is definitely not what we want. That is, people don't join. Thank you, appreciate that. Leslie, talk to me about your business and what's going on in your world at the minute.
Hi everybody, I'm Leslie Morrissey. I run a business called Inside News, and we do reputation marketing. So that's sort of, you all know hopefully where I'm coming from. Things, yeah, we've been quite interesting. I'm in the process of trying to say no to a client I mistakenly said yes to 3 months ago. So yeah.
That unpicking of it after is always more difficult than.
Also, it's been really stressful for not just me, but the rest of my team. There's 2 others in my team. And you know, it's just been a constant uphill struggle, and we're all exhausted. So we're going to get rid of him, I think, unless he's willing to change things dramatically. But he wants now to reduce the price, and I will not do that, because you know, I don't think he's paying what we're worth anyway, given that the ballpark has changed since the original brief. So yeah,
so he's changed the scope and wants to pay less for it.
Yeah, so the goalposts continually move, and it's really frustrating. And you know, that's not how life should be. I work because I love it. I love what I do, and we do all kinds of things. We do content for people. We do websites, newsletters, and email campaigns, and blogs, and social media, and loads of other things. We create sales funnels, whatever. So it's a varied and fun and interesting thing, because we're working with different businesses. So
you get an insight into different worlds, right?
Yeah, I've got 2 that I'm just developing marketing campaigns for. And one of them is a psychotherapist who wants to get on a conference platform. And the other is a very, very niche manufacturer of equipment to high-end manufacturing companies. So it's like very dramatically different. Yeah. So yeah, it is. And I've got accountant clients and property related clients, and you know, there's sort of loads and loads of different things that, you know.
And I mean, we're really keen in the Havering Means business community to encourage collaboration. And I think that starts with building a relationship of trust. Now, Leslie, we've known each other for, I mean, I'd like to say donkey's years, because I don't know how long it's been. And we've sort of just stalked each other online for a little while and said nice things about each other along the way. But we had a one-to-one last week, or a couple of weeks ago, and I interviewed the Buzzgateers guy. I can't remember his name.
Andy.
Right. So Andy. His Kindness Project interview was Friday. What an amazing guy. A really, really, really lovely guy. Who's doing really good things in the community, and he
just won a regional Specsavers Community Hero Award.
Yeah,
which he didn't know about, but we all put him up for it, and he won it.
I did know about it, because he got told on the day we did the interview.
Yes, but he'd only just heard that he got it. He didn't know that we'd entered him for it.
It's amazing news. Yeah. So and we've had a couple of emails into the Kindness Project telling us how amazing he is. So thanks for that introduction. With the other introduction you made, he's coming along to the next inner circle that we're doing. Yeah, please, if you haven't spoken to Leslie, reach out, have a one-to-one, see whether there's scope for collaboration, because she's amazing. This is
put
just
a load of stuff in the chat so people got an idea of what
and what Russ will do is when this goes out live on the group and the re-record goes out on the Monday, we'll make sure it's in there as well. So if any of our community wants to reach out and have a chat, they can. Cool.
One-to-ones as well, if anybody wants to, that'd be good.
Cool. Yeah, I'm sure there'll be people who want to reach out. Stephen James is on the call, but he's super busy. Oh, he's back. He's back. Steve, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad. And I do apologise, everybody. I'm scooting between 3 computers, so we've got items coming in from Europe at the moment. So yeah, good morning, everybody. Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about your business.
Well, thank you. Stephen James in Hornchurch, lettings, property management and sales. But you know, we've been local for 27 years in Hornchurch High Street. But going back to an earlier question, saying no to a client, it's sometimes prior to COVID, it was very difficult because being a public office, open 6 days a week, you do get all waifs and strays and all different clients walking in ad hoc. You have no say in the public at large. And sometimes, you know, there are some cheeky people that will come in with an agenda and they've probably been used to not hearing the word no. And
yeah.
As colleagues have said earlier today, it is emphasising your value. And even after an hour, once or twice, I still get caught, even after the pitch, you know. They see us working impromptu, they might hear an incident happening or a burst pipe or a building in. And even after all that, the client's willing to walk out the door. And I call it penny wise, pound foolish. You know, they literally, we had a client walk in with 2 strangers we've never met before. And he made a bold statement, I'll pay you X amount if you can get these through in 1 hour and pass them. I've already found them. I want you to act for me and just do the credit searches and the ID checks. Now,
but then the dynamic of that relationship is purely transactional.
It was just purely transactional. We declined, Chris. We declined, and of course, 6 months later, I could smell there were wrong uns anyway, and I could smell he was a wrong un.
Yeah.
But he's got no rent. He's got no. I think he picked up some ad hoc tenancy, which is not worth nothing really. He can't go to court now. So he's come back and we've referred him to a local solicitor. We didn't burn our bridge with him.
Yeah.
But I said that to him, that with respect, we're not going to just suddenly get people that we don't know into the meeting room. We would book an appointment to see them privately. And we said no. But people, I find it incredible, the cheek and the gall of people to, if I want to talk business with any colleague or anyone in this group or anything, I'd do a private conversation or a meeting, ask for a bit on both sides and then come to a conclusion. But people are always looking for something for next to nothing. And the richer people are, that's what I find the most offensive. We've got clients that pull up here in 40, 50,000 pound cars and have no embarrassment about asking so much for so little.
Yes, it's they're not clients that we choose to work with, Steve.
But with the public, we're a public shop, so we are going to get.
I mean, that is a question for another time, isn't it?
Yeah,
I've got a friend who's just opened financial planning firm up in sort of open retail space, and it's working really well for him. It's not something that we choose to do. Our offices are, you know, clients can, when we add offices and stuff like that, our clients can come and see us, but we're not particularly public facing. But yeah, it's interesting whether that retail actually has challenges as well as opportunities, and that might be one for next week, Steve. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. Remy, can you? I know you're on the line. Can you hear us? And is your mic working?
I have just come into the office. I was walking down before. That's why my camera was off. So just give me a couple of minutes. I've just walked through the door, so apologies for that.
No worries. Look, we'll move on to Christine and Tracy's presentation, and hopefully by the time that's done, you'll have yourself set up. So Russell is doing the tech stuff. I think he's using one of his 27 printers to do it. Russ, can you share the screen with Christine and Tracy, please?
Yeah, it's already done.
Amazing. So Christine and Tracy,
It would help if I got myself off mute. So good morning, everyone. So Tracy and I work together. We are from Perfect Layout Digital Marketing, and today we're going to talk to you about just looking at your website and seeing if there are improvements that you may want to make. So how can you critique your own website? There are 9 key points that we're going to be looking at today. And what we're going to do is do a live example of looking at just a few websites, some that are ranking on the top of the pages on page 1 on Google, and then looking at those that are on page 2, so we can then see what those key points are, and then you can use these tips to then take it back to your own websites and see how you're faring against your competition. So before I move on to sharing my screen, so the things that we're looking at is what type of content do you have on your site? Is it full of rich keywords? Are you explaining the different services that you have? Do you have good navigation on your site? So is it easy for people to get to the different areas and the different services and products? Is your layout clear? You know, do you have good imagery versus content? And you know, it's not just about having solid text and having lots of it, it's breaking it out so it's easy for the user to make their way through. For many of us, we are local based businesses. So again, do you mention your geographic location? So if you're a tree surgeon and you only want to work around the Havering area, there's no point in saying, you know, Essex tree surgeon, because you don't want to go to Chelmsford or to Southend-on-Sea. So, you know, being specific about where you work should also be mentioned on your site if you're a local business. Do you detail your business address and opening hours? This is not just for people finding you as an office, but also if you have other listings on other directories, your name, address and phone number play an important part of search engine optimization. Going back to content, do you use good headings? So headings are again another search engine optimization technique that the algorithms will look at. So your use of headings and the content that you put in those headings can also play a significant role. And then we'll talk about internal linking and external linking. So that's internal is when you link to other pages within your site, and external linking is looking at is linking out to other people's sites. So who do you work with? Can you give them a mention on your website? Because again, those interactions digitally can help. Okay, so I'm going to move to sharing my screen. And so the example we're going to take today is hairdressers in Glasgow. So again, I'm not going to stay local because we don't know who we know. So let's move a bit further afield. Oh, let's just. Okay, so just for anybody that may not know, this is called like the map pack. So if you search for who you are, not your company name, but hairdresser in your town, if you feature in this map pack, then you're doing well. This means that you've got a Google My Business listing and that you are one of the top 3 that they recognize. Okay, so this is a really good position to be in and try to aim for. We're going to skip past page 1 at the moment, but as we can see at the top, so the first one I've just skipped past is actually a directory. So we don't want to look at directories, you want to actually look at somebody's specific website. But the 2 that are in first and second position are West End Hair and iAlchemy. Okay, and we'll have a look at those in a little bit. But let's skip to page 2 and just have a look at the sites there, because page 2 is kind of only, you know, a few places away from being on page 1. Are there things that maybe some of these websites can do to get them into a better position? So I've already, you know, looked at these, but let's look at Raw and Hair as an example, Raw Hair Beauty as an example. So this site quickly to me, it's good in that it has a call to action straight away. Sometimes people may think, oh, it's an annoying pop-up, but these pop-ups are good and they do convert. So having something like this, especially if you do go to Raw as a beauty salon and you want to book now, this is a quick way for customers to engage and get that appointment done. So a call to action can be good. Okay, let's just scroll down the page to have a general look. So what we can see here is not a lot of content on the page, a very big logo, and then quite a heavy navigation menu. Now, this to me is too much. Normally you would just have one line and then you would have a drop-down menu. And again, if you're going to go looking for a hairdresser, the gift shop isn't going to be necessarily the first thing that you want. You want either bookings, or you want to see kind of what services they do. So yeah, this seems a bit confusing for the end user. This Raw Strathbungo and Raw Giffnock are their locations. They have 2 salons, but again, it kind of doesn't seem logical to me. So again, I think as a business, look at your own navigation. Does it make sense to you? I would recommend that they probably have a home, and about us, and under that about us, you could have meet the team. You could have their raw reward scheme, the COVID-19 changes, and maybe their booking policy. And then your next navigation could be hair and beauty, or treatments, or services, you know, whatever that generic heading works for what it is that you offer. And underneath that, you could have then the service menu, the color technique menu, and the beauty menu. Then you could have our salons, and then you could have your 2 locations underneath, and then usually contact us is at the end. Okay, so going back to their homepage, so I've just clicked away. The homepage, your homepage should be basically a synopsis of everything that your business offers. You should talk about your different services in a short and succinct way. And while I say short and succinct, usually when we're writing copy for a client's website, we will be looking at putting roughly between 700 and 1,000 words on that page. And that sounds like a lot, but it's breaking it up and making it look that it doesn't look like it's 1,000 words of text. But that when search engines are looking for websites to then marry up for somebody's search query, is that keyword appearing on the homepage. And the homepage and the contact us page do have a bit more weighting than your other pages. So you do want to try and get in what you do in a clever way onto your homepage. But as you can see here, you know, they talk about, you know, what they've won, which is good, but that doesn't say, you know, they don't even have hairdressers as a keyword. They don't mention that they're in Glasgow on their homepage. So you can see why under the search term hairdressers in Glasgow, this is not on page 1. Okay. Again, okay, they've got a nice image behind, but again, it's shaded out. You know, if you're looking for a hairdresser, you want to see evidence of their work. You don't have that on their homepage. So I think it's lacking that visual attraction for the site. If we go into their service menu, let's see what they have here. Okay, just a quick scroll down the page. So they offer cutting, and then they have their price. They have a little bit of text. They do colour, and again, a bit of text and how they do their colouring and their pricing. But you have to keep scrolling until you get to treatment. So again, for this website, I would think it's not very clear. There are no images. It doesn't draw me in. It feels too text heavy. And if it were me building this site, I would recommend that they have each of those different services. So the treatments, the colouring, and then the cutting as 3 different pages, because each page needs to stand on its own. If you try and save costs by putting everything onto one page, saying, oh, I can't afford to have an individual page for each of my products or services, then the search engines get confused as to what is your value proposition for this page. And for here, there's too many things, you know. And again, you want to look good as a person. If you're going to a hairdresser and you want to come out looking good, this page isn't selling it for me. Let's have a look at their colour technique page. So again, if we look at one of our key elements, they've got better headings on this page. They've got headings and text, and they actually then do have some images. So, you know, comparing these 2 pages, this one stands to be a lot more attractive, a lot more visual. You can see what it is they're offering. You know, if you wanted that nice pastel shade, yes, I have confidence that this salon offers that. You know, they're attributing what they're offering visually as well as in text. You know, these nice bright coloured hairs, if that's what you're after, you have confidence this salon is selling this service. Okay, and then looking at some other key points. So we said about, so they do have, you know, while they do have good pages on each of their services, and I say good in terms of they have individual pages, what about their geographical area? So let's scroll down. Do they have a footer? So a footer is a section of text at the bottom of every page. So here they have their 3 icons. Let's just have a look and just make sure that whether that's a footer or whether that is just that they put them on that page. So let's go to the home page. So a footer should have your contact details. It should have your name, your address, your phone number. You can add other elements like your logo, adding a map, but here you can see they've just got their social media icons. So again, this name, address, phone number adds geographical relevance to somebody's search query. So even the near me, when people put that in, the search engine will recognise from your IP address where you are. So if you're in Romford and you're looking for hairdressers near me, it will pull those that are in near that geographical location without you having that content on your site. The search engines are struggling to find you, which is why you then don't appear on page 1. These would be what we would call external links. If they, I'm just going to do a, I'm not going to open it in a new tab because I don't know how Zoom works with it, but make sure when you have your social media icons that when you click on it, it actually takes you to your page. Time and time again, we see people taking them to the general facebook.com page or the twitter.com page. You want to make sure you're linking to your own platform. And if you are going to mention a platform, make sure you're active on it. There's no point in having set up Twitter 5 years ago and people going in and seeing that really old post. If you are doing that, then get rid of that icon. Don't point people to that. Okay. And then internal linking, this site doesn't seem to have, from what we've just scrolled, any internal linking. So if you were planning to have, say, like a cut, just say, you know, would you like us to colour your hair today or when you have your appointment, and then link to your colouring page. You know, if there are other services that you normally add value or do an add-on service if somebody comes in. So if somebody were doing, I don't know, let's go back to our lovely tree surgeons. If you think you're getting to your tree cut, but you've actually got hedges in your garden, would you want them to cut your hedges at the same time? You know, they're there, they can clear it up. So what is it that you offer that you can then interlink, and how do you then cleverly do that on your website? Okay, so we can see this one. Then let's look at another site. So we'll go back to our original query of hairdressers in Glasgow. Let's go back to page 2. And then we'll go to this Pixie Hair and Beauty. So also, as you can see here, which I didn't mention earlier, is this is called, when you're looking at each page that you have and the page that appears, this is called your meta description or your page description. And this here is your page title. So when you go into the back end, you've got areas in which you can fill this out. And the words that you use in here can have a huge impact on whether you get ranked or not. So having, you know, this one here says Glasgow salon, but if they'd put hair salon, I know hair features over here, but if they'd put hair salon or hairdresser, then again, those keywords help you get found. So this Pixie Hair has got Glasgow mentioned in it. It mentions hair and beauty salon. So again, that's another keyword phrase. And then again, they mention West End of Glasgow. So again, even being more specific. So again, think about your business. What are the keywords that people, not necessarily that you would use, forget about your technical language necessarily. What are your customers using to search for your business? And try and interweave some of those, or, you know, make sure each of your service pages has service driven text on there. So you can see raw hair and beauty that we looked at a minute ago. Don't just talk about your hair, raw about it. Well, yeah, that's a nice marketing line, but that's not going to help for your search engine optimization. Okay, so let's go into Pixie Hair and Beauty. Okay, I can see me. So again, this is a really nice site. You know, it's a very unique type of salon, very vibrant pictures. But let's have a quick scroll and see what their homepage looks like. So again, visually quite attractive. It's got a little bit of text here. Then it goes on to their services and their prices, and then their social media channels. And then they talk about some of the products that they use. And then they do have a footer. Okay, so we'll kind of now work backwards to the footer. They've got their address, which again is that geographical reference of where they're based, which is good. They've got an easy to use phone number or easy to see phone number down here. Links to their social media icons, that's the external linking. And then they've got their privacy and cookies. If it were me, I've looked at this before, obviously. So these logos, great to have, but this could be where their external linking comes in, linked to GHD Hair or to Weller. And okay, that doesn't necessarily do much for you and you're pointing people out, but it's an external link that is, you know, it does get picked up on by the search engines of your external linking. You know, what's more relevant is your, you know, view more on Instagram, take them to your channels. let them see what else there is that you offer. So going back up here, this content is a bit thin. You know, this doesn't give too much about what they're selling, but it gives, what it does give, it gives a sense of who they are. Pixie Glasgow is a vibrant hair and beauty salon based in the West End of Glasgow. So again, a nice keyword here. I would probably put this maybe under a H1 heading, rather than just as text. Those H1 headings, that first heading on your page should have your keywords for what it is that you're trying to speak about on that page. This 80s inspired salon boasts a colour lab, wax bar, nail and makeup stations, and plus beauty rooms offering clients the most on-trend techniques in the industry. And then you can see, you know, what they're writing about is what they're conveying in their imagery. Here for their services, again, I would have, as you can see from the navigation, they've got home, they've got prices for their hair and beauty, and they've got contacts. So they don't have any service pages. So for me, if I were recommending and speaking to this client, I would say, do you know what, you really need service pages. One for your hairdressing element, so your hair, your cutting and styling, hair extensions and on-trend colour techniques, and then another page for your, as a minimum, for your beauty. And maybe could this beauty be broken up into different categories within that, and have service pages. So then that way on your home page, you can actually have a clickable hyperlink on here that would take that user straight to that page for what they wanted. Okay, so this is quite a striking site, but in terms of search engine optimization assistance, it kind of fails on several levels. Okay, a prices page, again, it is simply a price list. So again, in terms of content to help them get this page ranked and for customers that don't know about them to be found, it doesn't sell it for them. Okay. So let's now go back to page 1 and see who's in that top spot, and can we see why? So as I mentioned before, so I'm just going to move myself around. Treatwell is a directory, so we'll go past that. So this West End Hair, the best hair salon in Glasgow. So again, best hair salon, good keyword. Glasgow is clear, and then look at what they've got in their page description. You know, some great keywords that help sell Glasgow several times and hairdressers. And yes, it is a bit repetitive, but you know, it doesn't harm. So think about how you best sell yourselves. So their homepage, just a quick scroll through. So they've got some text at the top. They've got a pop-up again. Salon shopping made simple. Shop with us wherever you are and restock your salon essentials online. Again, is this the right pop-up for your homepage? Here they're selling products for their salon. So they obviously sell Aveda products to other salons. I wouldn't say that's the key thing if you're looking for a hairdresser. If you're a hairdressing salon, if you were a hairdressing salon supplier, then yes, but this kind of pop-up doesn't seem the most logical. So yes, they have content, they're using headings. So again, good keywords in their headings: hair salon, Glasgow, hairdressers. Bit of content, then we go into testimonials. So again, if you can get client testimonials, which are easier said than done, please do. You know, use them in your social media platforms, use them on your website. So they've got two versions. They've got the text above, and then they've got these boxes. And then when you scroll down, you can see actually they've got 19 pages of testimonials. Again, they've probably got a plugin that does this, but is this the right page to have so many testimonials? But it is their landing page from this, which is good because you do want to go to a hairdresser that has got a good reputation. The navigation is nice and clear. So again, when you click across, look, you've got this lovely visual navigation bar. Their hair is broken, as we mentioned from the other sites, hair color correction. So you've had a bad hair color job, you want to get somebody who can actually do it. They help you with this. Weddings and bridal hairstyles. So again, it's very clear to navigate what this hair salon offers. They do products, Aveda. Let's see, do they do an external link out? Not that I can see. So again, you know, if you are going to mention that you're selling something, would you want to have some extra information? Would you want to point out to that other person's website just to have that external link? If there's, again, they're selling these things, I would probably have better product descriptions. I've got a picture here which looks like a range of products. Could they be a bit more descriptive? But again, this is a good site with good content, good keywords, clear navigation. Let's check to see if they have a footer. Yes, they have. So again, the good address, name. What I'd probably add is adding your business name down here. So you've got your name, your address and your phone number, but you've also got an email in which you can reach them. And again, this map, if people come to your location, is handy to have too. Okay. So just to recap, what we're looking at, our 9 key points are keyword rich content, clear navigation and layout, and that includes good images, so high resolution images that have been optimized for web, which means that while they're a high resolution image, they are not big files, because if you have big files then it will slow your speed down. So making sure that they get compressed. Clear business description of your services, the products, where you're located. Having detailed information both on your contact page and your footer of your business opening hours and your location. How you use your headings, again, H1 headings, which again is a technical term for the back end, but they are easily found. Making sure you're using one of those on each page, and then you use other headings to break up your content, and using images to break up that not just scrolling. And then internal linking, can you link to other pages on your site? And then can you do external linking? You know, if you write a blog and you're writing about, say, let's give another example. You're a tree surgeon, I love my tree surgeons, and you've got a tree with a TPO, so it's a tree protection order, I think is what the thing is, you know, link to what TPO actually means. Go and find a government-based website and say, look, here's extra information that we've helped you navigate to find that. Okay, so these things that you can make your website better for your end user, and the search engine algorithms will recognize the work that you put in.
Thanks, Christine. Couple of questions from me.
Yeah.
First, actually, thank you to Leslie, who I knew would be on Typo Watch. She's found a couple of typos in those websites already, so thank you for pointing that out. She did. She did that on one of my documents the other day, and it saved me about 1 million years worth of time. So I really appreciate that. But a couple of questions from me.
Yeah.
The first one you looked at was a Squarespace built website, because it had Squarespace at the bottom, so that seems like a sort of DIY style job.
Yeah.
So again, you know, what are the disadvantages of doing it yourself in terms of not focusing on some of the things that need to be done? And interestingly, the website that you showed as top ranking was not as visually appealing to me as the one on the second page. So how do you get the balance right between, I mean, the fact that they're showing 80s movies in that second place, I mean, I'd be there if I had enough hair. But how do you get the balance right between making sure that you're visually appealing enough and it's working from an SEO perspective?
Okay, so search engines look at the content primarily, and then they look at your images as well, but your images also then have to have an alt tag in the description so that they recognize what those images are. But a lot of people, even us from time to time, because it's a thing that you just got to remember and get into that habit, but you can forget quite easily to name your images, which then the search engines don't know what that image is about, so they just kind of go, right, I don't know what that is, we'll ignore that. So the reason why that West End hair is at the top is because it does have a lot of content, and all those different variables and keywords are helping them to get found.
But
so
if you've got a visually appealing website, you want the images to be named so Google recognises what they are.
Yes. And then it's that balance of, do you think that page looks good enough to represent visually and textually? Because visually it's for the end user. You want a nice looking site. Textually it's for the search engines to then put you in that top position. So it's finding that balance.
It's the balance, isn't it? Yeah.
To answer your question about doing it yourself, again, it's like anything, you know, do you have the time? Do you have the expertise? Everyone, you know, going back to the question about saying no to people, to us, it is often about money. They think, you know, putting a website, I can do it myself, GoDaddy, you know, Wix, whatever, I can build it and it's only going to cost me whatever a month, you know, pennies. but then we say, well, actually, it's going to cost you quite a few pounds. And they're like, oh, well, I can do it myself. Okay, well, go write your content then. How long is it going to take you to write good content that's going to get your website to the top pages?
Yeah, and it's the value.
Do you know what to do with your images? Do you know how to resize them and optimize them? Do you know how to make that page look pretty? You know, that's where the value is. That's what we offer. And you know, our strap line on lots of things that we write is we're website designers who care. You know, when we engage with clients, we will be working to make sure their page gets to page 1. I'm not saying necessarily the top position, because that's quite hard to achieve, but every month we are working with that client to keep making sure that we retweak their content to make sure that it then works for page 1 for different keywords. Now, if you're a business owner doing it all yourself, you're not going to be going back to your website and doing that analysis every month. So that's what you're paying for. That's the value that we offer. 100%
agree with that. Any other questions from anybody listening? And bear in mind as well that we're live on the Facebook group. So if there, I don't know if Raz keeps an eye on this, but if there's any comments on Facebook that I always miss and check at the end, Raz, can you give us a shout and let us know? But in terms of people in the room, any questions on website design?
I'd like to say thank you to Perfect Digital. I'm going to, I met you once at the town hall in Havering. I've still got your card in the office, but I'll certainly, well, I've heard, I'll convey it to a few of our clients. You know.
Thank you very much, Stephen.
You know, as I said, you're right what you said earlier. Everybody starts off with a website. I've had friends that have started their businesses 2 years ago, and they've still got text from 18 months ago. It's been forgotten, isn't it? Everyone starts off. They need people like yourself, more creative, and to do all the extras.
Yeah, and Chris asked last week, you know, or 2 weeks ago, how often should you look at your website? You know, as often as you change your services, or as often as you add new services, but you know, at least once a year, you need to give it kind of a thorough. Does everything make sense? Am I still offering things in the same way? If you've got pricing, is your pricing still accurate? Because the last thing you want is somebody saying, look, you've said on your site you do X for this, and suddenly you're like, oh my goodness, and then you've got to honour that because that's what you've got published.
Yeah, and particularly if your prices have changed and you publish your prices, that might be an issue. How about redesign? So at Savello, we were waiting for the firm to be chartered, which is going to be happening hopefully in the next 6 weeks, to have a full redesign on web. When, like, how old is too old website wise?
I would say it depends what platform you're on. If you're on a platform that can make changes that are still current, or that they add functionality that then comes onto the market that wasn't there when you built your site, then there's no reason to change. Or if you've got a good web developer that can stay current with you, then you can do tweaks to make those kind of updates. You don't have to do a massive overhaul, you know, periodically, but then, you know, styles change, things change, and if you want then an overhaul, or you feel actually the business needs a revamp, then you can go for that whole you know, overhaul, starting from scratch again. You know, and in the days gone by, that was a very pricey project to do. Now with lots of the platforms that are out there, is that you can make, you know,
it's a bit easier,
significantly visual changes without having to go through a whole website redesign.
Amazing. Okay, great. Thanks, Kristen. Really appreciate that.
Can I just mention my little offer?
Go on then.
So what I've done is I've given you the DIY. If you haven't got time, or you don't feel like you can confidently do it, we do what's called a website health check. So we spend, you know, a bit of time going through your site, checking where you're ranking, checking your content, checking your navigation. We usually charge £100 for this, which gives you a report that gives you the tips and recommendations of how you can make those changes yourself, or go back to your web developer, or you can then say, look, actually, this is all brilliant, we need your help. So we're offering that to anybody listening to this video for £50. So just get in touch with us with our email, which is, hopefully you can still see the screen.
Yeah, that's great. Now, Ross from Havering, the Havering Daily, our local friendly online newspaper, said, do you work with online digital newspapers / providers, and is it worth having a conversation?
We don't currently, but it's definitely worth a conversation. If it's something that we can't directly help, then maybe there's somebody we know that can.
Cool. Okay, so Ross, if you reach out to Raz, can make the introduction, but if you reach out to Christine and Tracy, they're definitely up for a chat. And I know Ross has sort of good numbers on his website, but he's still looking to make sure that we continue to boost those. So yeah, definitely worth a chat with Ross. We're working with Christine at Havering Means Business. She's part of the Havering Means Business team now, right? Christine, you're going to help us with our web stuff and our premium users. So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, Tracy and I are excited to be working with you.
Cool. Yeah.
And helping this become more vibrant.
Tracy, I don't know whether that face was excited or frightened. I mean, it could have been either. I'm going for excited.
Oh, excited, Chris. It's excited jazz hands.
Jazz. People don't use jazz hands often enough, do they? Let's be honest. Right. Thank you for that.
Can I make a comment? Can I make a comment, please?
Of course you can. Yeah.
You did ask. What I would say is sort of like a verbal testimonial. I've known these two lovely ladies for quite a while now, and as part of our programme, we do try and encourage people to collaborate or work together or refer people on. And I know that they have provided a lot of support to some of our clients. And I think the thing is, it's not only the website that people need to consider, but it's the analytics and it's also the maintenance. You know, what happens when it goes wrong? And I know they do a grand job when it comes to all of that sort of stuff. So I wanted to say, really.
Amazing. Thank you, Simon. We appreciate that.
I have another shout out as well. So I don't use these ladies, but I made the fatal mistake of using he was recommended, but he was absolutely awful, the guy who did my current website. And it's in the process of a great big facelift. So it is so important to speak to somebody who knows what they're doing, guys, because this guy, I worked with him. He did a fantastic copy and paste job, literally. I wrote the copy, he pasted it into WordPress. And as my son pointed out, I could have gone on YouTube, looked at how to do it myself and saved the effort of the man in the middle. So really, really important to use somebody that knows what they're doing, guys. And these ladies sound like they're brilliant. So yeah,
good stuff.
That's my shout out. Don't make my mistake.
And I think Leslie made the point that, you know, check whether links are updated. And Tracy, I think you pointed out that you check once a month in terms of making sure that everything's done. Yeah.
Yeah, we do. Part of our monthly analysis is making sure there are no broken links on our client sites. So yeah.
Amazing. Great stuff. Thank you very much. Remy,
thank you for the opportunity as well, please.
Of course you can. You're more than welcome. Now you're part of the HMB family. You know, it's, you know, I did say to Russ there was an element of favouritism. But now you've talked about his 12 printers in his room. I think it's going off you quick, Chris, to be honest. So yeah, thank you for sharing an insight. It was really, really useful.
We want proof of these printers, you know. We don't want, we don't want this hearsay stuff.
Well, some people say Russ doesn't exist. Some people say it's me with a different account. Catfishing. It's not. Russ is actually real. Remy, how are you?
I am well. I am very well. Thank you, Chris. It's my first time on this platform. So I just want to, say, just listening in, I've really just gained quite a lot, from it so far. So thank you very much for the invite.
Welcome to the community.
Well, yeah, thank you. I also have to, hi guys, hiya, thanks. I also have to give a shout out to these guys, Perfect Layout, simply because they built and manage our website. And we are number one, we're always on page one for the keywords that I've given them, to look out for us. The maintenance has been great. We're currently going through a revamp of the website as well, and I'm getting their advice, their keen advice on how to do that better. So thanks, guys. I certainly would recommend it. You asked what we do, Chris, and you know what we do. But in terms of the platform here today, we help businesses start right. Actually, and we help existing ones grow, but grow profitably. So essentially, our tagline is that we help businesses succeed. Ultimately, that's what we're aiming for. We're a small firm of business consultants, accredited by the FCA, regulated by the FCA, I should say, and accredited by what we call SFEDI, the Small Federation of Enterprise Development Initiatives. They regulate small businesses as well. That's essentially who we are. But our hero is the client, and we are their guide.
Yeah, amazing. So supporting the client to achieve their goals. I love that. Talk to me about saying no very quickly. Do you ever say no to a client?
I had some really interesting comments and responses to that today. Never a hard no. our aim, whenever a client comes to us, I always look at the end result before I even hear what they're going to say. I or any of my colleagues, we're a small firm, there are 3 consultants within the firm and an administrator, so there are 4 of us. And the culture that we have as an organization is to leave the client better off than how they came to you. So even if it's not going to be a client we're going to work with, we always want to give them some value so that they leave better off.
Completely get that. You know, that added value element, even if it's not going to be somebody you're going to work with longer term, is something that we try and do at Savello as well. You know, just even if it's some general sort of guidance and point in the right direction, I think reputationally that always pays off. So thank you, Remy. I really appreciate you coming along, and welcome to the community as well. Thanks for jumping on and getting involved.
And thank you for the rich content that is coming through today. Actually, really rich content coming through. Thanks.
Yeah, and just very quickly, if you'd like to present to the room, and the 560 odd members we've now got on our Facebook page, because that goes out live. That's only available at the moment to premium members. Tracy and Christine are helping us get a bit better at being a bit more prominent on what premium membership includes on the website. But Raz will post a link, and for the premium members, who I know there's a few on the Zoom this morning, Raz will be in touch, and we'll be booking places to get you booked in to have a chat about your business. Now, what we always do, because it's Friday, is have a quick chat about wins of the week. So we'll quickly, to end the meeting, we'll quickly go around the room and talk about what's gone well in our businesses this week. Carol, should we start with you?
I'll be quick. Do you remember these healthy drinks that we were doing the leaflets? We got another order from them, a much bigger order, so we're very excited. So if you're around Romford and Hornchurch, or even a few other places, have a look for the leaflets coming through the door. The coffee one is out of this world, but it isn't decaf, so it blew my head off. But that's my own fault. We've had Ian Brasher from this group in touch about doing some business-to-business drops, where we literally take his marketing stuff into businesses. So that's really exciting. And have a look on LinkedIn. I'm playing that game, the 3 truths and a lie, and one of them's a lie about me. So please do have a look at my LinkedIn today and see which one you think I made up, and I'll let you know later. Thank you.
Right, I am going to play that game, and I'm going to put my own 3 truths and a lie today, and see whether you can get my my lie. And thank you for being so active in this group, Carol. The reason you're getting results is because you're such an amazing member of the community. So thanks for getting involved.
Thank you. That's really nice.
And no running talk this week, only a tiny bit. I mean, what's going on? We need to get better at that.
I
Julie,
can't do your 2-hour marathon.
Definitely not. Oh, 2 out of 10K at the pace I'm running at the minute. Julie Bell, talk to me about what your wins are.
We had 2 new clients this week. Chuffed to bits about. So that's all good. I've got a meeting with Mark this morning to see about taking my strategic alliances further. So yeah, quite a positive week, really.
Okay, cool. And talk to Raz about, it won't be soon, it'll be
no, that's fine.
Next 3 weeks. But talk to Raz about putting some time in the diary for you and I to talk about potentially working a bit more closely together on that.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Today about equity.
Thank you, Raz. See, he does exist. That wasn't me throwing my voice. Phil, talk to me about your wins of the week.
Yeah, been a good week actually. So yeah, it's just good to see that. I think last week I was talking about social media possibly it's really good for getting your message out there, but it can sometimes be a bit of a lonely place when you're first starting out. But yeah, it's good. Like getting a lot of inquiries, a lot of people talking about or asking questions about what I do, and passing the message on to other people. So it's just been really good to see actually that, you know, the consistency and actually just showing up is actually starting to start conversations and actually get people talking about it, thinking about things, which is ultimately what a lot of the content's about. Actually, just trying to plant that seed in people's minds to actually start being a bit healthier. Not whether it be using my services or not. It's actually more about kind of taking those steps to actually lead in a sort of like a happier, healthier life, really. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's just really positive to see.
And you know what? I mean, we've spoken about this on the group before, but the importance when you're running a business of maintaining good physical health and how that fits into doing it well is fundamental. So as you're our very own Joe Wicks, we're gonna be looking at that moving forward and how we can potentially collaborate. So love having you as part of the community, Phil. Really appreciate it.
Love being here.
Leslie, how did you find this meeting? Was it good fun, or will you never be back? I mean, that could be a potential. And what are your wins of the week?
I've enjoyed the meeting. It's been great meeting lots of new people. So I think Carol and I are going to have a one-to-one. So that's already in the process. That's great. Yes, I'll be back. This is my third milk breakfast meeting this week, so in a row. So I am sort of getting a bit tired of getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Well, I mean, just so you know, and just for the guys watching on Facebook, we alternate it. So we do a morning commute one Friday and then a lunch one the following Friday. So you don't have to get up too early every week.
Okay. Wins, three new proposals I've written this week, or 2 I've written and 1 I have to write. So I'm going to have to run away in a minute because I've got work to do. But yes. Amazing. I'll be back.
Cheers. Thanks, Leslie. Thanks a lot. And certainly I'd recommend that you get in touch with Leslie for a one-to-one. That's certainly worth doing. Christine and Tracy, or Christine or Tracy, talk to us about your wins.
I was going to pass it to Tracy because she hasn't spoken yet, but I think she's defecting it.
I've done jazz hands. That's enough, isn't it? Well, I'll pick up my jazz hands again and just big up Chris and Russ and say the biggest winner this week is collaborating and working with them on the HMB business.
No, we really appreciate your help, and yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun as well, which is which I'm really looking forward to. Jazz hands is going to become a thing. I mean, if we can get Russ to do jazz hands, Tracy, that's got to be our goal for 2021, isn't it?
Wow,
let's be honest.
That'd be amazing.
Steve James, what's been your big win, mate?
I'm really pleased to report. I'm mindful a lot of people do a lot of these Zoom meetings and networking and that. And this is my 3rd meeting this week, and with other groups associated. It's pleasing to see people getting back together. I think we lost a lot of 6 to 9 months on the tail end of last year with COVID, and a lot of people were lapsing away. But it's nice to see people collectively coming back. So yeah. Up for the work with the Havering Means business, because I do feel there's a lot, there's going to be a lot of goodwill created here.
Yeah, and Steve, thank you for the contributions you make to the local community as well. I mean, I know that we've done stuff together, supporting local charities and raising money, and Steve does some amazing stuff over the years, supporting people who are less fortunate. So thank you for your contribution on that, mate. It's I've spoken about this before, but do well, do good is really important to me, and you are an example of that. So thank you, mate.
Part of the team as well, Roundtable, plus my own charitable organisations. But I will say yesterday, Chris, Hornchurch Roundtable, I know you were part of the street collections at Christmas. We also donated £1,000 yesterday from Hornchurch Roundtable to Havering Minds. That's
great stuff.
And also the cheque to the Romford Food Bank was delivered on Wednesday this week. So brilliant. Collections, 2,500 was dispersed this week to Havering charities.
Love it, absolutely love it. I mean, the reason I go is because it's the only opportunity to wear a high vis, and I just get an element of power from that. But it's such a good laugh going out and raising the money, isn't it? It's such good fun. So thanks for encouraging me, and I go out with Charlotte to get involved.
Thank you.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Thank you. Simon, talk to me about your wins.
Well, I was going to say my internet, but that.
You've not built a car this week, or
no? That's a failure. Actually, I'm hotspotting again. I would say personally, learning things that I can share with people. I think regardless of what you're doing, there's always an opportunity to learn. I've also been a little bit more involved in some of the events that we're running through East London Business Place. So I was involved yesterday with a sustainability session that one of my colleagues was running. Very, very interesting. And I'm sure a lot of people maybe don't look at sustainability as being part of their business, and it's really quite an essential thing. And I think it's one of those things that's going to get bigger and bigger. But looking at some of the events that we've got running, we're running an Instagram session on the 10th of February. That looks like it's fully subscribed. We've got our own Havering meetup networking event, which is on the 16th of February. That's doing very well. And we've got some other events. So, you know, I think it's really nice to see that we're seeing regular people attending and just providing that support, that listening ear that people are always after. Yeah, 100%. I am looking forward to it when we actually get to go back and meet in person, though. Are you? I am. It'll happen. I've seen a lot of people melt down this week, and sometimes it's just a case of standing back and trying to get them to think about what they have achieved rather than what they're not able to do. And which is one of the reasons why we do Wins of the Week, because it then provides an element of perspective for all of us that we might not have during our week. So, yeah, it's certainly important. Sharon. Now, we're not going to turn this into the Sharon and Chris fan club again, are we? Let's not do that. We'll have a separate one-to-one to do that, where we can talk about how amazing we are. Instead, talk to me a little bit about your wins.
So I've had a couple of wins this week that I'm really excited about. Tail end of last year, I set myself my targets for this year as to what I wanted to achieve. And effectively, I set myself not so much sales targets, but new clients targets. And I'm really pleased that as at yesterday, I did January's, and as at yesterday, I've done February's. So anything else in February is a big bonus.
But you know what? In our world, it's a really interesting time at the minute. So we've done our quarter in January, and I'm thinking, have I set the targets a bit too low? But it is busy. It is busy. So, but fantastic work, and certainly looks rosy, doesn't it, for the future?
It does. I'm not going to adjust my targets just yet. I'd like to see this repeat a couple of months, and then I'll say, actually, maybe the targets are a bit too low, and we will review them. But I review that as I advise all my business owners. This is a moving feast. You've got to regularly review what you're doing. And again, strategic, right? You know, not knee-jerk, making sure that you do it when the time's right. And then the second big win is I finished the preparation for my next webinar, which if you want to join us, guys, I'll stick a link in the chat. It's on the 17th of February, and it's on tips and tricks on using Xero. So if you are Xero heroes and you want to learn some tips and tricks, come join us on the 17th. Amazing. I'll get Cassie to log into that one because we're big Xero users. So I'll make sure we join you. And next week we'll talk about webinars because we've got some webinars coming up. We're doing one a month with professional partners. Sharon being one of those professional partners. So I'm looking forward to that one coming up. Remy, talk to me about your wins of the week.
Hey, Chris. Very quick one is we've had 3 new customers this week. And I'm really pleased about that.
Great stuff.
Thank you.
And on that note, thank you for joining us on Havering Means Business Morning Commute. We've overran. That's my fault because I talked too much. Have a lovely Friday. And we'll hopefully see you on the community and at one of these meetings next week. See you soon.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care.